Disclaimer! Pretty much all the voiceover on this video is done with me being sick. I ate the sushi and I immediately got really bad sickness, and I am still sick. So, blame the sushi, I guess. Yeah, that's all I needed to say. Enjoy the video, I guess. Okay, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. What? Really? Alright, fine. I will actually talk about Katana in some meaningful way. Hopefully. Katana is a melee character who operates as one of the two tank characters in fighting, as shown by his incredibly big health pool and shield of 200 and 300 respectively. Unlike the other tank Banhammer, Katana focuses more on sustainability in the long run and acts more like an actual tank character who can take hits and help out both offensively and defensively. I'm gonna be honest, Katana really doesn't deserve a full kit overview because I am expecting people to know what his moves kinda do in some capacity, but just for some refreshing, I will quickly go through all of his moves because unfortunately, there isn't much to go over. Katana's passive, Looming Misfortune, makes it that every time Katana hits someone with his M1, a mark will apply for every hit. When a target reaches 5 marks, the marks explode doing 8 damage per stack and gives Katana 10 shield per stack, with some slow as well depending on the stacks. Katana's M1, Calamity Slice, allows Katana to do a 5-hit combo while holding down M1, slightly moving Katana in the air and allowing him to stay in the air if he is there while doing the move. Every slash does 24 damage with a 0.5 fire rate. The range of the slashes is also insanely massive and applies a slow and bound to Katana for consistency reasons, I guess? I don't know, but it's there. Katana's M2, Spirit Cleanse, slashes the enemy for 30 damage, applies a Mark of Misfortune onto the enemy, and also procs any existing marks on the enemy. This slash also refreshes Katana's M1 combo, which can allow for another M1 combo to follow up on the M2, which can further bolster some air stalling. We'll get to that. Sort of. Katana's Q, Thread Toe, throws a rope. If the rope connects with an enemy, it does 30 damage and applies grounded to the person pulled for 1.5 seconds, and stuns them based on how far they were grappled with a base timer of a second. The move also has a range of 150 studs and doesn't act like a hit scan projectile, so keep that in mind. Katana's E, Foul Counter, is a move that puts Katana into a countering stance, which negates most damage and knockback. Every 20 damage Katana takes in his stance, he will launch a slash that applies a Mark of Looming Misfortune and 14 damage per 20 damage he takes in his stance at a maximum of 80 damage. If Katana takes more than 100 from a single attack, Katana would not block any of the damage of that move, and the ability also doesn't get negated by stuns, so watch for that too. Katana's finisher, Soul Splicer, slices a large area around Katana after a 1.75 second windup, which applies 5 misfortune marks on anyone hit by the slash. The damage is... what the hell is this? The damage is based on the average health of all enemies hit, added by a base amount of 80, which sounds really stupid and I never knew this until now, so thanks Katana. Okay, so Katana is very simple as a character, and honestly, yeah, he is pretty damn easy to pick up and understand. His passive is pretty much the main element of him that keeps him alive and allows him to have that long self-sustaining shield. It strictly ties into his M1, so we'll get to that, but the passive allows him to slow down enemies, get shield from enemies, and do extra damage to enemies. I'm saying enemies a lot, Jesus. His M1, however, what the hell is this move? This move has an ungodly range, lasts for a 5-hit combo, applies Misfortune for every hit, which procs a full stack of Misfortune if you hit all 5 M1s, allows for air stalling which makes hitting him harder, and also has slight push force if you're trying to run away. This move is absolutely stupid to try and hit or even see because the slash is absurdly huge. You can honestly just hit people from insane distances and make some melee characters cry, due to the fact that Katana can just hit them while they usually can't. The M2 just makes this look even more stupid. The M2 can proc existing marks of misfortune, which can make escaping Katana even harder, and make Katana get a quick burst of shield if he didn't activate marks already. What makes this move insane, however, is the fact that it refreshes his M1 combo even in midair, which allows for Katana to keep air stalling and get even more damage while in the air. I don't think I need to explain why this is incredibly annoying for most characters, but combined with the proc misfortune stacks, it can make Katana prey onto anyone if they are just slightly in his range. This ability is just so dang useful for Katana's entire game plan and allows him to have access to so much more options. Katana's Q is, okay, this one is a little weird. So, the grapple, depending on the range, can be pretty awkward to hit. For one, it has a delay when you fire it, so it's not like an instant release. And two, the grapple has some sort of travel time, so it's a bit of a timing as it acts like a projectile. Sometimes the grapple hits in really awkward ways, and other times the grapple hitbox makes no sense, and other times it blesses you. If you miss a grapple, well, too bad. If you hit a grapple though, the character is most likely dead if your team follows up. Due to the grounded and stun, pretty much any character that isn't a tank will be absolutely murdered by Katana and his team due to the time that he can't use anything. But it's what makes this tool so good. Oh yeah, and close range, it can just pull and stun anyone pretty easily, which helps in a lot of battles. Specifically the Katana mirror match, which is obscenely boring, but hey, it helps out there. Katana's E, however, yeah, this move is an open's worst nightmare. With E, you can basically negate most damage sources and absolutely wipe people with it. While some finishers like Sword don't get their damage negated, being able to sponge damage for free and throw it back at enemies is a big boost to not only Katana's defense, but also offense. Granted, some could try to potentially bait out the counter, but a counterplay to that is to, well, not get baited. I know, it's a crazy concept. This E can be central for many specific situations as well. It can completely mirror Scythe using her gun finisher, it can make sling finisher shots an absolute hazard for your team, you can bait Biographs onto you and murder them they aren't paying attention. There is so much you can do with it. The only real downside is that it can stop your air stall, but that's not much of a downside for its upsides. This move is genuinely the best thing Katana has, especially for the value it can muster up, and even at its worst, it can still reward some value due to the armor it gives Katana. Now, you might think after all I have said and praised about Katana's kit, you might think the finisher is game-changing. I mean, it's fine. It usually does a lot of damage, the wind-up is forgiving with Katana's bulk, and the marks on hit can be a blessing for Katana's bulk, but compared to many of the other broken as hell finishers that can change games way too much, it's pretty fair, honestly. The hitbox can be a bit stupid vertically, but it's pretty fair and gives good value, especially on Conquer, as it can usually cover most of the point. Just don't die when using it and you'll somehow get some value out of it. So, if you have been paying attention to the gameplay on the screen, Katana might seem very easy because, well, he actually is easy. I will probably say when it comes to the fighters, he might be the easiest, along with fighters like Slingshot and Subspace. Katana's game plan is fairly one-note, and his passive allows him to fill into that one-note playstyle. Approach the enemy, do big damage, get shield for big damage, and stay alive. And it doesn't need too much input to even do it, it's usually finding a high spot and air stalling while using M1 and M2 and maybe doing an occasional Q and E for better damage and stuff. Katana is often seen as a brainless character, which in opens he kinda is. Unless you're playing Annihilate, Katana is very brainless in an open server, as the players usually don't have the tools or characters needed that can actually take on a Katana. Sometimes they try to one-on-one Katana even if they usually lose the battle most of the time, and yeah, that's about it. On Andy, he might need to use cover and his allies, but just like opens, anything can work in opens. And that's about all I can say. I wish there was more, but no, that's actually it. I could talk about his competitive scrim stuff, but the video would be way too long if I went into it, so yeah. Did I mention his character has nothing to it? Like, he is so dead simple that I don't even know how to make a video on him without it feeling so redundant. He is Katana. He is so self-explanatory. He stomps open servers unless there is one semi-competent player on the other team. I don't really know how else to explain it. His character just has no meat on him to dissect, it's all bones. I mean, his skins are cool, so I'll give it that, and yeah, Katana is brainless fun. I have no idea how to end the video now. Okay, let me say this then. Katana is a fine character. He is balanced and sometimes boring and sometimes fun. It really depends, but Katana is fine. He is redundant and weird, but he is fine. Okay, how the hell do I transition to an ending screen?